Happy New Year, you guys! How are you? I hope you had a magical holiday season, no matter how you and your family celebrate. This is Jules here. Sewell is at work, but I wanted to do a really quick update and to talk about IUIs and our TTC process right now. Specifically, I wanted to talk about sort of just in general how an IUI has gone for us, and I don't know, any tips that I can think of, and this is for ladies out there who are wondering how it's going to go. They're nervous about it, nervous about any pain maybe. And just in general, just wanted to chat about IUIs. So we are in our TTC process, for those that don't know, my wife and I. And we have started, I would say, about last year. We recently got married in September, and we kicked off our TTC process right after we got married, literally right after we got married. I think how we last left it off in one of our vlogs was that we got our 3D ultrasound to check on the shape of my uterus. That went well. I do have a curved uterus, but nothing that requires any treatment or surgery or anything like that. That was a concern. And we had our HSG. We had our HSG shortly before our wedding, and we had our 3D ultrasound the day before our wedding because that's how we roll. So all went well from all of that, and we were given the green light to officially start our first official cycle and have our first IUI. So we went on our honeymoon to Barcelona and to Paris and had an amazing time. When we got off that plane, I had gotten my period towards the end of our honeymoon, and it was time. It was just time to go and to get started on our cycle. Our first cycle we did was completely unmonitored and unmedicated. Basically what that means is we weren't on any Clomid, we weren't on any medications. It was just literally an IUI. That's how we wanted our first official IUI to go. So all this means is you basically come in for a follicle scan. So around, I would say day 7 of my cycle, just as I was finishing up my period perhaps, they had us come in and we did a follicle scan. This basically told them, first of all, it checks for any cysts we found out, but then it checks to see how many eggies are in the mix for that cycle. So they checked, we had a couple of maturing follicles, and they said you're looking good to do your IUI this cycle. So that kicked off cycle number 1. Leading up to our first IUI, I was nervous about pain, just having done the HSG. I was just kind of prepping myself for something similar, maybe a little bit less intense as the HSG, around like a pap smear, maybe a little bit more intense, and I was just kind of prepping myself. We as a couple felt, I would say, pretty good. I would love to get Sewell on here just to talk about her experience and as a supportive partner and a mama bear in all of this, what her thoughts are. So stay tuned for that. My experience specifically, just nervous, really, really excited, a lot of good energy. So we try to take it really easy the night before, just relaxed. I chose to take a full day off work. I can't remember if Sewell took the full day off work or half day, but she always takes off plenty of time to take care of me, to bring me to the appointment, to go together. And so she always makes room for that in her work schedule if she doesn't take off the full day. So I did take off the full day of work, and we went to the larger facility to do the IUI. So our fertility clinic has satellite offices, basically to get blood drawn. If you're doing a medicated monitored, you have to go in like every single day for that. But specifically for the IUI itself, the procedure itself, we go to the larger kind of facility to do that IUI. We had ordered our donors materials a few weeks prior to that first IUI, just to make sure that we had it ready to go whenever the cycle started off after our wedding. And we can talk about how we chose our donor in another video. That's something that we really want to kind of share with you guys about the process around that. So we had our donor, we went in for our IUI, we were all set to go. We filled out some paperwork. You're kind of nervous at that point. It's so great to have a supportive partner there to do all of that, to you know, kind of do all of that paperwork for you in the waiting room, so I could just kind of relax and get ready for what's going to happen. I've been researching meditations for IUIs, so there's a lot of great things here on YouTube that talk about getting ready for your IUI, fertility, general meditation, and that's something that I have interest in, and that's something that I'm currently practicing. So just really basic meditation. You could probably do a general meditation, but I put on fertility meditations leading up to the appointment in the car ride. And we went in, Sewell filled out paperwork, and we waited for our appointment. We waited for about 20 minutes or so. Our clinic doesn't make you wait an hour for things to de-thaw. Some clinics will make you do that, and it's really good to have an idea if you're going to be doing that or not. Because I mean, we were waiting maybe 15-20 minutes just to be seen, which was really, really quick. It might have been less than that, to be very honest with you. But some clinics, I know, literally you come in, you check in, and then you wait like an hour for it to de-thaw while you're there. So just a heads up on that. Just make sure that you're very clear on how that morning is going to be, and that your clinic has given you exactly sort of the layout, and just ask questions if they don't tell you. You can also ask questions like, should I have a full bladder? Should I empty my bladder before I leave the house? What should I prepare for? For myself, I think we had no food restrictions, and I believe they wanted an empty bladder, but I was just drinking lots and lots of water, just preparing for IUI and just preparing for TTC. So in the process, you just want to drink a lot of water. So I was going to the restroom often anyways. So I think I cleared my bladder before we left the house, and then again right before the procedure. So that's my office's procedure. So please check with yours. That's one tip that I would offer, is just prepare yourself so that you and your partner, or if you're going at this alone, you know exactly what you need to do. They called us in. My wife was able to go in, so Sewell was able to go in with me. That's something that was really, really important. Asking questions before your IUI, as in, could my partner, put the specimen in, or push on the thing. If that's important to you, if it's not important to you, ask those questions before this appointment so that you know exactly what to expect in managing your expectations. So we go in, it's very much like exactly like a pap smear. The room is set up like a pap smear, and the whole procedure is truly like a pap smear. In fact, less for me, for my body. From my experience, it was less than a pap smear. The nerves, absolutely, I was excited and I was nervous, but the pain and the just general feel of it, it has varied from baseline pap smear to less painful than a pap smear. So for those that follow us, for those of you who follow us, you know that for me and my body, pap smears actually hurt, or I feel pap smears. It's not like some women that are like they go in and they don't feel anything, and then their pap smear is done. So for me and my body, probably now we found out it's because I have a shaped curved uterus, but for me pap smears hurt / I feel them. So that's the baseline to give you guys. And so for us, the IUI was at that same level or lower. So nothing like HSG, especially if you've just had an HSG preparing for your first IUI. For my body, it was not like that at all. So when you first walk into the room, before you actually do the procedure, the nurse practitioner will talk to you for a few seconds about the sample. So they'll tell you numbers that I swear to goodness will go out one ear, in one ear and out the other, because you're so excited and nervous about the IUI. Great to have your wife or supportive partner there to actually hear that. They basically told us that our sample was great. It was above what they would be looking to see, that they tested it, that they washed it. They gave us the sperm modem count, how many are good swimmers, but also how many, like what's the range of motion. Basically quality of the actual donation. And they show you and they tell you to sit down. They tell you to undress, completely undress from everything below your top. So I was able to keep my bra and my top on, and my socks. Fun sock story to tell you guys in just a second. And so I went to the bathroom, I took off everything below and emptied my bladder. So that was their specific directions. And we come back into the room, and again, Sewell was there, able to be fully supportive part of the process. And I went ahead, sat up on the table, and to be very honest, full pap smear. That's like, and way less time. I think the whole procedure took like 5 minutes or less, probably less. I would say 3 minutes with actual, doing the actual procedure. Talking was more, like the beginning and the end was more of just talking and just going in the room and doing all of that. Didn't hurt, was super excited. For me, so it's an IUI, so it's different than an ICI. It's different than if you, it's a different experience if you were doing it at home insemination, where you should be legs up in the air and not really moving for 20 minutes. So an IUI, it's really none of that. At least my clinic's standard procedure is you can get right up off the table after. I listened to my body, and my body said lay there on that table for at least a few minutes, like knees still up. That was probably more mental than anything else, but that's what we did. We told we didn't know that that's how we would feel, but shortly after the procedure, I think I looked at Sewell, and I think I might have said something, or I just looked at her, and we both were like, oh, can we kind of hang out here for a little bit? And the nurse practitioner who did the procedure said, absolutely, that's totally fine. So we, I think, hung out for about 5 minutes. I did some relaxation, a little, not meditation, but just kind of laid there. Sewell kind of had a bonding moment and just kind of gave good wishes on my uterus and on my tummy, and I just took some breathing exercises, and about 5 minutes later got up. Something that I definitely felt like I needed to do was continue to lay down, not because of the procedure, not because of anything. I just, brain-wise, was like, I need to be laying down with my legs up. So I guess what you see in the movies is true. Like, I just wanted to be like up in the air. And it costs so much money to do this that I was like, anything I can do to help. It doesn't matter if they say we don't need to. That's what we're doing. So I think I had Sewell put my meditation YouTube video on, and that's about like 10-15 minutes, and that's what we did for 10 or 15 minutes after, and that was it. Drank lots of water, ate healthy, for the rest of the day and just relaxed. I think it was probably a couch day for the rest of the day. You could go back to work. You could probably, maybe not exercise, but you can fully go back to whatever you were going to do. For me, I just needed to listen to my body. My work can be a little